people are starting more and more sports leagues. When Paul and I were doing it, it wasn't a concept. I think that pro sports now is starting to become an arm of Wall Street. There's private equity funds being raised around just specifically investing in sports assets. It reminds me of real estate. I try to follow history a lot, right? Like, it reminds me of real estate in the 60s and 70s. It wasn't an asset class for Wall Street. Now there's REITs and people are investing in commercial real estate to get returns. And so now if you look at sports used to just be for the billionaires, right? You couldn't get access. And now it's democratized. You have more access points. Funds are being raised. You can be an LP in those funds who invest in a pro sports team. The NFL is likely going to let private equity in. All the other big sports leagues in the U.S. have. And so for us, it was really around, we were one of the first to think about, okay, we can go raise private capital. We think that there's a lot of IP and content and media value in owning it all, from the league to all the teams. Do you guys want to be a part of a growing sport where it's been conditioned in the market like I talked about? Yeah. And so now what happens, you fast forward 7-8 years, all these other leagues are trying to start up and they want to talk to me and Paul, and I always get caught in this weird space where I want to be helpful as an entrepreneur, but I'm also like, dude, I slept on a lot of hotel floors, cried, bled a lot, no one showed me the path, and so I'll give you 15 minutes, but that's about it, because it's competitive. There's only so much sponsorship that goes around. There's only so much media rights. There's only so much inventory. The game that's coming up is going to be on ABC. You have to fight hard to keep those slots to get people to view, and so it is competitive. People ask us who our competitors are. I say all the other sports.
Yeah. You talked about owning all aspects of it. One of the unique factors of the PLL is the marketing piece. And the fact that you guys have been open and transparent with the marketing piece. You control all aspects of the marketing team, but you've also made all those marketing resources available to the players. And unlike the NFL, where the NFL owns everything, you can't use a picture, you can't do this, you've opened that up. Why is the marketing piece being controlled but also open so important to the model?
Well, the value is really the players. The players drive value. They're the ones who are creating what people are talking about, why people are watching. And then they don't have access to their own IP coupled with our IP, and then they're not going to be able to market as efficiently to an audience, right? And so I think what we've really tried to do is say, hey, when you're marketing yourself, take our IP, push it out, especially from your channels. At the same time, we'll package it for you. We'll cut highlights, we'll give you access points to it, cut photos from you from professional photographers so it looks premium. We package it. As soon as the game's over, it's sitting there in a digital file for them so they can upload to social. Our social team's even gotten so active that we'll put copy together for them. We just know that now with social media, there's a one-to-one audience, their audience, and ultimately we want them to be communicating as much as they want to, but we want to do the heavy lifting for them. We want them to focus on being the best athletes they can, playing the best game that they can, and if they want to utilize social media to have a conversation, we want them to be able to leverage our IP. We want to package it for them, and all they have to do is press play.
You guys do such a good job with that on social media. I watch it every day, and I try to take tips to incorporate.
You were a long pole defender, right?
So I was.
You were good at hitting people across. You said you had a couple concussions. Hopefully you're good now.
I follow you. Listen.
Yeah, man. I did my research. I know about you. Yeah.
That's exactly it. Yeah, I was. And I was a football player, and that's how we built the team.
So I did the same thing, a football and long pole.
And they said, hey, we don't have a team. We want to build a team. If you play offensive line and you are remotely faster than others, you're going to play long pole defense.
Yeah.
And just hit guys when they come through the crease. That was the only job I had. Don't touch the ball.
Yeah.
Hit guys when they come through the crease.
Yeah. Now these guys are so fast, it's hard to hit them, right?
No,
They're just dodge, and it's crazy.
Over the last 5 years of the PLL, you had a couple of things were in play. You didn't have regional affiliation for the teams, and you played in neutral venues. Going into year 6, this 2024 season, that's advanced now. You have regional affiliation, and you now are getting into more of a home game, away game type concept. I know that might be out there in the future as well, more defined, and then you have 2 neutral sites. Why make that shift?
Well, you look at the history of sports. We just are trying to study the best sports league, the best sports properties in the world, right? And the common tongue of sports is, where are you from? I root for my local team. And for us to launch with only 6 teams, now we're 8, we didn't want to be overly regionalized. We wanted this tour model to really allow us to spread the country. In a traditional home and away model, you could only, with 6 teams being 6 markets, we're able to get to 15 out of year 1. But as we saw sort of the information, we looked at the data that we were collecting, there was 40% of the fans rooted for the league opposed to their teams. It should be 2%. And so we're like, wow, we did a really good job building this league brand, but we need more people to be stickier to teams. So let's not try to be overly innovative here. Let's try to look at the data and let's go back to common language of how traditional sports teams, where their immediate and best fan funnel is, and that's often local fans. And so we were like, how do we thread the needle and do something where we can still keep flavors of our tour model, because it's super efficient with our capital. It's really great for fans. Like, we're in a neutral site right now, right? And we get to come to Connecticut, and these fans are incredible. But we can still have a home and away model that's combined with our tour-based model. So it allowed for this interesting opportunity for us to still access local, but then be tour and be efficient with what we're doing.